We got a question, and this is a little lengthy. On a program, Bobby, you've said that when there is a revaluation of the U.S. dollar, that the debts will not be revalued downward as the dollar is revalued upward. Can you go into this a little bit further? What led you to this conclusion of them keeping the debt?
Well, the conclusion is that your formula is wrong. I said if the dollar is devalued by 2/3, logic says that loans should be devalued by 2/3 as well. There is no logic in Washington. They do what the Illuminists tell them to do. The Illuminists want everybody financially on their back, so they'll be forced to accept world government. So the answer from an Illuminist point of view is you don't get to pay a new payoff, you get to pay on the old one. That way everybody will go under that has a mortgage or a loan, and they can better deal with them. This is what this whole thing's all about. So don't be Pollyannish. And don't pay your house off. If you get money, what you do is you buy gold and silver, coins and shares. They got to go up in value. Maybe you can pay off 5 mortgages by the time this thing is over. Who knows?
The second question is he has where he has some student loan debt for school, and he put his savings into gold. Right now he has more gold and silver than his student loan debt, which is locked in at 6.8. Much of it interest-free. While in school, he felt that he would get better returns on gold and would be his insurance against the dollar and the printing press. Would you suggest he still use student loans to pay for school and keep his savings in gold and silver?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to do that.
Here's another question if there's 15 times more silver than gold in the ground, then should silver be 1/15 of the price of gold?
I don't know. And those ratios never work. And I pass on the question. It's like the gold-silver ratio. I give up. I gave up 50 years ago.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme to reason.
Let's see. This guy's 30 years away from retirement. He's got a 401 account, Oppenheimer. He has around 40,000. He's still down around 30 from the last crash.
Well, if he had sold when we put out a sell at 11,200, he'd be in a lot better shape. But I'd be out of the market.
Yep.
Not me. You guys do what you want, but I'm out and staying out. And if you want to buy gold and silver shares, that's okay. No bonds. I mean, gee, we're looking at 319 today on the 10-year. I mean, that's absurd. Who will want to put money out for 10 years at 3.19%? That's the lowest level in, I think, 5 years. Maybe 10. It's crazy.
His second question is, and always check to see if any of those funds can also be available for self-directed IRAs for gold and silver. He says he thinks that the big boys have moved to Plan B. The B stands for blast, as in oil wells, Iran, the stock market, anything else that gets in their way. He thinks the scorched earth program has begun. What are your thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, I think it began some time ago. And, they want to bust everybody. And in gold, they can't do it. It's as simple as that.
Next question, he says, in America, is America now like the 30s to 40s Germany? In fact, that our military is being used for globalist gains, and our cities are eventually going to end up like 1945 Berlin?
It's hard to make that kind of a comparison, but what's going on economically I can compare. And what we're going into is what it was like during the 40s and late 40s and 50s. There was a recession in 48, and it didn't last long. But that was in part because they couldn't find jobs for everybody that was coming out of the military. And I think it was called a 920 Club. And they gave you $9 a month for 20 months or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Knowing I wasn't collecting it, I was 10 years old at the time. And they actually had 920 clubs, which are kind of like a canteen. And people that didn't have jobs would go in there and sit around and talk all day waiting for the unemployment people to tell them that there was a job available. And they check in every morning. A lot of people did not have phones during the war in the late 40s. In fact, not an awful lot of people had cars either, which most people don't know today. I mean, the purchasing of cars on a wide basis didn't begin until the 1950s.
We got one more quick question and program about, this is in from John. The Israeli military has begun a 5-day-long war game which has raised regional tensions that the hawkish Tel Aviv regime is preparing for another war. The military drills are called Turning Point 4, and they actually began on Sunday morning, and it's going to be conducted in 68 cities and towns. These types of exercises may determine the conflict's outcome, and that was from an Israeli defense official. And Hezbollah also went on alert ahead of the Israeli war games. And then
I couldn't hear the last part of it.
Hezbollah also went on alert ahead of the Israeli war games.
Well, I would think they would. And the last time the Israelis went after them, they got kicked around pretty bad. And so, I'm sure they're getting ready for war. When, I don't know. But it's going to happen. And we're also going to see maybe something with Korea. And that should bring China and Russia into it, and we'll send thousands of people out to get murdered again, culling the population, making lots of money for the rich insiders.